Alright, hi, I'm Paul. This is our rowing demo video. What we're going to do is go through all the different points of performance for the row. It is quite technical, so you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. And if you want to get a little bit more out of your row, you really have to pay attention to your technique throughout the stroke. So first off, what we're going to do is set the damper. Typically guys row with the damper at around 6, women row with the damper at around 4, and that usually gives you a drag factor. If the rower is pretty clean, it'll give the guys a drag factor of about 140 and the women about a drag factor of 110. So when we set up our straps for our foot positioning here, we're going to get those feet in the foot pads here. We're going to cinch up those straps, and what I want you to do is make sure that the strap is sort of in line with the ball of your foot. So we don't want it too high up on the foot, because if you're stroking or rowing with the strap way too high, you're going to cut off a little bit of circulation for that foot, and we definitely don't want that. So you got nerves and things running through here, which we don't want to be putting pressure on. So right over here is a good spot to keep it in. When you go to grab the handles, I'm just going to hit just row for now. But when you go to grab the handles, you want to make sure that you're in a nice upright position at the start. So this is called the catch. So right at the front of your stroke, this is the catch. We want to make sure that when you're in the catch, we have our shoulders engaged, we have our backs nice and flat, and we're sitting upright. So I don't want to see anyone in the front of the catch with a rounded back, leaning forward and driving like this. This puts a lot of pressure on your spine, and we want to stay away from that. So we want a nice straight, flat back. Shoulders are engaged, and we're driving with the legs right out of the catch. So throughout the stroke, your arms should hang like straps and stay nice and straight, but make sure to keep that packed shoulder joint rather than having that arm roll forward. So one thing you should keep in mind is when you're going through the stroke, when you're right at the catch, think about the handle and this chain as being like a seatbelt in your car. When you're in the car, you go to pull on your seatbelt. Hopefully you wear seatbelts, make good choices. When you go to pull on that seatbelt in the car, if you pull it really slow, it just sort of comes out slowly and you can kind of keep pulling on that seatbelt. If you pull it out really quick, it locks, which is exactly what we want with this. So when I'm at the catch, I don't want to just sort of like go through the stroke, not have any tension on that flywheel. What I want you to do is actually get to the front, and then when you fire those legs, you should get almost like a locking sensation. You'll be able to carry tension throughout that stroke. Just like that. So while you're doing this, I had mentioned the front is the catch, so you're using your legs to drive this movement. We're not going to lean back right off the bat. Right off the bat, we want to sit up nice and tall and focus on using those legs. So the first drill that I get people doing typically is just firing the legs and seeing how much wattage they can get just using the legs. So usually if you're using your legs properly, you definitely get at least 100 watts out of this. Next part that we introduce after just firing the legs is just leaning back. So you want maybe a 10-degree lean. You don't want to go back too far with that lean, otherwise you're putting too much stress on that lower back. So same idea, start off a little slower, fire the legs, lean. So you'll get a little bit more length in that stroke right now, getting that lean in. And at this point, we still want the arms to be straight, still want the shoulders to be packed. The last part to the stroke, we're going to introduce that pull. So when you're grabbing onto those handles, some people prefer to have their thumbs around here. Some people just like having them over top. I like having them over top. Otherwise, you kind of get too much rubbing and friction going on when your hand's on the handle like this. So what we want, try to get thumbs over top. When we finish with that stroke, when we finish with that pull, we want to use all those upper back muscles so that we can pull the handle right to your sternum here. So we don't want you finishing too high. This isn't going to give you a whole lot of power to finish off that stroke. It might give you a little bit of extra distance, but not a great way to finish. We want to drive straight back, pull, finish with the handles right at your sternum, and then we're going to recover. back of the stroke, we want to do the exact opposite of what you were doing. So, firing the legs, lean, pull. Now on the way back, we want to trace the abdomen with your handles. Straighten the arms out. You're going to sit up, and as soon as the knee or the handles cross the knee joint, that's when we're going to bend those knees and go back to the start. For this is because sometimes people end up going way too quick and they bend the knees before they even get the arms straight. So then it looks like this. You're going to lose a lot of power there, and it's just not as fluid with that stroke. So this is what we want it to look like on the way back. Firing the legs, lean, pull, recover, sit up, bend the knees. Whether we're rowing at 18 strokes per minute or 40 strokes per minute, we want to keep it looking the same. You get out of the foot pads quickly. Use those plastic levers, push them outward, slide your foot forward, pull your heel out, and you're done. Happy rowing.